It's the second episode of Quantum Box. I'm keeping this. I'm not doing a second take of this. This is the second episode of Quantum Box. Today we're talking about Steven Universe. So Brennan introduced it to me, I think, in 8th grade, like sometime after he moved to Oklahoma, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and
probably.
I think I started watching it like somewhere in the middle of 2019, and I got sucked in real quick. And we wanted to talk about what's our favorite, characters, episodes, talk about the monstrosity that was the pilot. I think that's a good place to start out, the pilot.
The pilot. Okay, so I haven't seen the whole pilot. I've seen portions of it, but oh my gosh, that thing! I didn't see this until like season 3 of the watching the actual show, and so after seeing the pilot, like it was horrifying. I hated that so much.
Yeah, I've only ever seen snippets of it as well. And what I remember, Steven from Pilot Steven was a total punk. He was like insulting Lars and like making great comebacks, but also just the art style and like the color palette. It was also like it felt like a fever dream.
It was weird. Yeah,
And then the the pearl, garnet, and amethyst, their designs for the pilot. Oh
they
no.
were just wrong.
Amethyst had a green fanny pack, and Pearl's hair defied gravity more than actual pearls.
And Garnet's hair just flat.
Just a brick, just whoop right on there.
It's not even it compared to the brickiness of it now. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like someone
Sad.
tried to make it a brick, but they made it like a quarter of an inch thick.
Yeah, she took her hair, her regular hair, and then like stuck it in a vat of boiling grease, and then like kind of shaped it around her shoulders and said, "All right, I'm great. I'm good to go for the day." And then I don't even think that there were any like because I've only ever seen like snippets of the pilot, so I don't even remember what it was like. I just remember it started with Steven going into the donut shop and then insulting and roasting Lars when Lars was like, "Oh, you don't have any friends, Steven." And then Steven's like, "Oh, well, you don't have a face, Lars," or something like that. So it was definitely a fever dream, but luckily it's a fever dream that never got aired on TV because there was the significantly
No, that
better.
was aired.
It
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 was
did.
it was aired, yeah. As far
Oh
as I
no.
remember.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Oh god.
It's
I feel so
yeah.
bad for all the toddlers on Cartoon Network on a Saturday morning and they had to watch that. Oh gosh. That's horrible.
Yeah. It was
Oh man. I don't even
it,
want
it
to
was
talk
not
about it anymore. Let's go to the actual first episode where
Yeah.
which in my opinion is just tenfold better in just in every way.
Yeah, okay. So I think the part that I liked most about the actual first episode was the intense foreshadowing of the entire show. Spoiler alert for anyone, just stop listening now.
Actually, if you've never seen Steven Universe, just get out of here.
Get out.
Go get scram, shoo. You're not welcome
Anyway.
here.
um so there was foreshadowing in the first episode about how the rest of the entire series would play out and end up.
Because of one stupid song about ice cream.
So it was the Cookie Cat song, and so if you didn't know, and again, if you didn't know this, get out. With Cookie Cat, the cookie shaped ice cream sandwich, the
Treat from outer space.
yeah. So the I need to find the lyrics actually. Okay, so the Cookie Cat goes basically when it's saying he came from this planet from outer space, it's referencing the gems coming to the planet, a refugee of an interstellar war. Again, referencing them coming to Earth and defending it after the gem war. But now he's at your local grocery store saying they're in the area, basically, as
Yep.
far as I understood that. And then if you go down a little bit past that, he left his family behind because the gems left the entirety of Homeworld and everything.
And pink diamonds, leaving behind the other diamonds.
So instead of the way I originally thought it was referencing was the gems in general, but it's actually referencing Pink Diamond and even the coloring of Cookie Cat because it's pale pink and then a darker pink, so showing half of it being Pink Diamond and half of it being rose quartz coloring, basically.
Yeah.
So he left his family behind, referencing Pink Diamond leaving the other diamonds. So it was an interesting finding that out. The first
Yeah.
episode.
I actually started I had kind of a dropout from the series for a bit after it ended March of last year, but which that was a whole other spiel, but I finally started rewatching it a couple weeks ago, and I forgot kind of because I mean, of course, every first episode of anything is going to be cringy. Our first episode was pretty cringy, and this, I mean, but
Yeah.
just but it also it's kind of endearing like seeing the characters for the first time and then seeing kind of how they act and how they kind of go about things cuz it really like going back and watching that after not seeing the show for almost a year, it's like so like refreshing cuz they're basically entirely new characters, and that's definitely a given with the first episode because Pearl is just she's like an annoying mentor, and then Garnet like says like two words throughout the entire thing, and then Amethyst is and Steven are so annoying.
I think that Pearl definitely became a lot less like controlling throughout the show because in the very first episode, Pearl was like trying to manage and control everything and didn't she was a fun sponge.
Yeah, throughout the entire first season, I'd say she was a
Yeah.
massive fun sponge.
And then Garnet definitely got more,
Actually interesting.
less one word response y.
Or just no word responsey. Throughout the entire first episode, whenever she was like somebody would ask her a question or, talk to her, she would like grunt and nod
Stare.
back or
Or
just
just stare at them
yeah,
and then
stare
walk off.
silently. Yeah. But like I was talking about before, it's definitely I'm glad that they were given such bland, personalities because it was such a like clean palette to grow and like develop from. It was really endearing to watch.
Yeah.
So, who like in would you say from like watching the very first episode the very first time, who would you say is your favorite character? If you didn't know any other characters from season 2 or 3 or 4.
I'd definitely have to say Amethyst.
Mm.
Just if I were just watching the first episode, never seeing it before, I'd definitely say Amethyst.
Yeah, I mine would probably I think it would be Sadie because Sadie was also at the very beginning of the episode.
That's
Um
true.
I thought that she was a super interesting character And like not because she was just like, this background character who works at a donut shop, but she was so nice and like
Yeah,
I liked how her and Lars like were constantly arguing. I found that like super what's like interesting.
yeah. I think that definitely she was a really, really good character. At first, she was kind of just like she was interesting at first, but kind of eh. But I definitely like what they did with her character as they went on.
Yeah, especially in Steven Universe Future. I really liked the way that she developed and kind of helped the plot move along.
Yeah.
So then we get to our newer cast with consisting. I think it was at the end of season 1 that we get introduced to Lapis, right?
Um, Lapis was. Let's see. I don't remember exactly. I think it was near season 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was introduced about apparently halfway through season 1, I guess. Season 1 is 53 episodes long. Dang.
Oh, geez. Wasn't the finale of season 1 kind of them going up like Lapis sucked up the ocean and they went
Um
to get the water
no.
back or something?
No, the last episode of season 1 was Jailbreak, where that's when they're on the ship and Steven finds out who Ruby and Sapphire are.
Oh, huh.
Yeah. That was, let's see. That was that was before Lapis had her gem fixed. I think that was the episode after Mirror Gem. That was Ocean Gem. Yeah, that was the episode right after.
Oh, so it was like one thing.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, like I think I found Lapis's character arc, to be the most enjoyable. I really really liked Paradox, but I found Lapis to be more relatable just because she was so like secluded and she didn't trust anyone, and that's why I really really liked that part in season 1 where Steven fixed her gem and like got the ocean back, quote unquote.
Yeah. I like but dislike how they gave Steven um how even though Rose Quartz had healing powers and everything, I like but dislike that they gave Steven that option because in the show how stuff like shattering is supposed to be permanent and stuff. It kind of just undid that and it's like okay.
I mean, in SUF, spoilers, when Jasper got shattered, it took like the
It took the same power that it takes to uncorrupt them to repair the shattered gem. So the like,
yeah.
essences of the diamonds or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't know. I wanted to say gamer girl backwater for some reason. But no, cuz I actually really liked how he kind of had healing powers, cuz he had the shield, the bubble, and then the healing. And like in SUF when he kind of, or was it the movie? It was the movie when he kind of stretched all of those to be kind of to their full potential. I thought that it was a very balanced thing cuz with shattering it took, the diamond's essence as well as his, and then like belief and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that was actually really interesting to me. I liked, especially his like the little small arc of him trying to figure out how to actually like control those powers, the healing powers, and
Yeah.
like almost destroying the world, classic Steven style.
Yeah. Um, I think before all of this happened, in season 1 until the Lapis part. I mean, even after the Lapis part, until the very end of season 1 where we start getting into barely start getting into the diamond stuff. I think it was kind of just bland, kind of. There was some
Yeah.
interesting episodes, but a lot of them were just like this contributes nothing to the story whatsoever.
Yeah, like, other than the Lapis thing and then Jailbreak at the end, I feel like it was just a lot of filler episodes to introduce the audience to, like, all these characters and the idea, because just the idea of the show is it's so, like, creative and unique that I feel like while some of the episodes, like, did help story-wise, they were also just kinda like, "Here's these characters, here's what they do, here's their struggles, here's their beliefs and their pros and their cons," but I found some of those episodes, like you said, to be just kind of bland and not very fun.
Yeah, I think once we actually started getting into the diamond stuff, dealing with homeworld and all of that, it got really, really interesting.
Mhm. I Yeah, and at the so when so now we're at kind of at, like, the end of season 1, and we kind of I think beginning of season 2 was when we actually formally get introduced to Peridot, right?
Season 2, um, I think it was a little bit after that. It was
Because I remember there was a thing where Steven, like, ghosted Connie afterwards,
yeah, that
and
was
then
immediately at the beginning of season 2. I think it was about maybe a quarter of the way into season 2 is when like Peridot actually was like, "Hello there."
we didn't even talk about Connie, because that was Connie's I love Connie, she's such a cool character.
Yeah,
When did she, I remember I watched, like, about 10 seasons or 10 seasons, wow,
10 seasons would be awesome.
10 episodes into season 1 before we actually started talking about it. Like, I think she was introduced 3 or 4 episodes into season 1, right?
She was introduced in episode 7 of season 1.
7. Yeah, and was it in I wanna say, like, ending of season 2, she started training with Pearl?
It was let's see. It was at the beginning of season 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, season 2, episode 5.
Hmm. And wasn't that also when Pearl got, it wasn't shattered, but it was, like, cracked and she had to reform, right?
When Pearl got poofed.
Poofed,
That
that's what it was.
was that was in season 1 when Steven was watching, um, what was it? Lonely Blade, and he wanted to learn how to do the boomerang blade, and so he was trying to get Pearl to teach him how to sword fight, and he was distracting her. Here it is, season 1, episode 16. He was distracting her, and she got stabbed by her hollow pearl, and then took, I think it was like 3 weeks to reform or something.
Yeah, I didn't really, like that episode because I found it so annoying, like, how impatient Steven was. Because 'cause I'm a very patient person, so whenever I see, like, things with impatient people, it makes me just wanna strangle them. It's so annoying how impatient Steven was and was, like, he, like, did all, like, the things with the hollow pearl and
Yeah.
that. Also, might I quickly go over hollow pearl and how amazing it is?
Okay, I totally forgot about Hollow Pearl. Out of season 1, Hollow Pearl is for sure the best character.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
And Best Fusion, Mega Pearl,
Yeah,
or Mega
the
Hollow Pearl.
yeah, the Mega Pearl is an SUF. And I just love after a while of Connie. I think it was in season 3, maybe. After a while of Connie training with Pearl and Steven training with Pearl, how the Hollow Pearls do when they're doing fusion training. That's what it was. When the Hollow Pearls fuse, their fusion dance and fusion music is the best of all fusion dances and all fusion music.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing to beat because, like, Steven Universe has such a beautiful, like, score, and like, all of the fusion dances and all of that. It's all very, very beautiful, but man, Hollow Pearl just takes the cake.
Oh, for sure.
And let's see. So we were talking about sword training and Pearl getting poof. Connie, right. So the season or the episode that Connie got introduced, I also found that one slightly annoying. Just I guess that's just because I didn't really know Connie that well,
Uh-huh.
but I found her really interesting cuz I feel like all characters, although it is kind of a Mary Sue situation where I'm the quiet girl who knows everything and isn't allowed to have a life because of my strict parents, I still found her a very interesting character because when, they were at the bubble at the bottom of the ocean and she finally breaks, that's something that you don't see a lot of those like Mary Sue quiet characters do is them actually like completely breaking down and just expressing their emotions because I feel like a lot of characters like Connie are very emotionless,
Yeah.
and I liked how they didn't wait to show that emotion.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
it felt very personal and real.
Yeah.
And how soon did it take you to start thinking that Connie and Steven were dating? Because it took me a while, but
I never thought that at
really,
all during the entire show until the movie.
mm-hmm.
After that point it was clear, but until then I was like, oh yeah, they're just friends because that's how they both saw it, from what I thought at least.
Yeah, well, because I remember there was this one episode, I think it was called like Indirect Kiss or something like that,
That was
where
when Steven healed Connie's eyes. Yeah.
yeah, when they shared a juice box and Steven was like, "Ooh, I backwash," and then his like magic spit or whatever like healed her eyes. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the point when I was like, "Oh, they totally like each other," but I didn't really. I feel like ships in Steven Universe are kind of like they're both good and bad because it's with fusion, I feel like that's an entirely like other than Sapphire and Ruby, it's entirely like platonic or like Pearl is constantly saying for like emergencies and stuff.
In I think there's different kinds of like fusions, I guess, how there's the platonic and the romantic, like Ruby and Sapphire, or later in Diamond Days, how there's the two Jades that fuse, and they're like,
Love those
oh,
two
I
J's.
knew that we weren't the only ones, blah blah blah. And
Yeah,
then it was like between platonic wise between like uh Pearl and Amethyst. There's different
yeah,
like ways that they decide to fuse, I think.
yeah, and fusion is such a cool concept to me. Like that was so creative how they took something. Isn't that kind of a thing from real life where gemstones and stuff they can like kind of fuse? I don't think that's an actual thing, but
As far as I know, under extreme pressure, eventually they can. I could be wrong, but as far as I know, that is technically possible.
yeah, but it's like from a story kind of perspective, it's such a cool thing that they added. Like especially with like malachite and how that contributed to both like Lapis's and Jasper's story and like Pearl and Amethyst's story, like Amethyst like becoming less of a fun sponge and Amethyst, starting to take things more seriously. It's definitely such a cool concept to me.
Yeah.
And then so now we're in season 2 where we get to talk about Peridot, who is one of my
Yeah.
favorite characters.
So the last few episodes in season one is where Peridot and Jasper are introduced. And then
Hmm.
at the very beginning of season two is when Steven is like, Well, all that just happened, and also I'm just gonna totally ignore Connie for the rest of my life so that she doesn't have to deal with this crap. And
Mhm.
that worked for about 12 seconds. So they're like, oh, emotion, emotion, talk, talk, hug, yay. And then that's all kind of just forgotten about forever.
Yeah. I really wished that they would have touched on it later, like, 'cause I felt like it was such a touch and go thing. "Oh, I don't like you anymore. Oh, never mind, you're cool, let's be friends again." I wish they kinda talked about that more and we got to see, like, how Connie felt, like, about, like, the missions and stuff and how, because it was kinda just kinda like, "I'm your friend and I'll always be your friend," and, like, "We're partners in crime," or whatever, and then Steven's like, "Okay," you know?
Well, I think that they kind of do go back into that a little bit later on when in season 4 Steven goes with that one gem, Aquamarine. I think when he gets back and Connie is like, "Well, I'm done with you,"
Was that
and
a thing?
then it kind of. She was really mad at him and she wouldn't talk to him, and he was like, "But I'm here," and she's like, "And?" You gave yourself up. We agreed that we'd do everything together and that stuff. So it was kind of reverse, but
Huh.
it wasn't immediately resolved again. But then, like, as soon as they both got to the party and started talking, it was like literally like 10 seconds of conversation. They're like, okay, we're good.
Yeah, I wish there was more of, like, grudges and drama. I feel like the most, like, grudgy thing was when Pearl, used, oh, what was it called? What the sardonyx
Oh,
as,
yeah.
like, just a way
Sardonyx
to,
for having fun with Garnet, just like
and
wanting
yeah,
to
to feel
fuse.
closer. Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like that was the closest we got to, like, really, like good, like, and I'm not a person who's like, "Ooh, yeah, I love drama," but like that part I did find really entertaining because you like there was actual like an actual grudge and an actual problem to fix, between two characters.
Yeah. And then I think another kinda something kinda similar to that could be with Jasper, how she hated everyone, but then just at the very end, after all the gems are uncorrupted and everything, Amethyst says, like, one line to her, and then she just kinda stops forever, and it's like, "Really? Like, it was that easy?"
Yeah, I wish there are a lot of problems in the show is they're fixed really briefly, like, with, like, the sea spire and stuff, I wish they would have, like, gone back to that because I found
Yeah.
that to be one of, like, the most intriguing episodes of season 1 was the sea spire and the cheeseburger backpack.
I like how I hope they kind of go back to that. Like they maybe do some kind of follow up episode for a few things, but one of them being like the ceasefire because Pearl was like, "Oh, it'll reform in about 100 years." So I hope they're like 100 years in the future or something. A
Yeah,
lot of
I
people, like all the main characters aside from the gems, would be dead, but at
Mhm.
least they could go back to that.
Yeah, that's something that I really wish was a thing, like, especially in, Steven Universe Future. While I liked how they like focused on like the more like mental problems and stuff in future, I really wished that they would have done stuff like that where they, reminisced on old things and like went back to check on stuff and like because of course they went back to like homeworld and was like, how's it going here, and then we got to see creepy white diamond.
Oh my gosh, that when with that like possession thing, that was really creepy.
Mhm. Oh man.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And then we keep trying to talk about Peridot, and then we keep getting off track.
Yeah. Um,
Oh, and the whole, thing of season 2 with when the diamonds tried to take over Earth and they put what was it called? Like the crystal core or
the
something.
the cluster?
The cluster, yeah.
So the cluster had actually been there for a while before. It was kind of after the war had finished. They got it there, but that was when it
Yeah,
was like revealed what had happened and like
yeah.
why.
I really liked how, the cluster arc and Paradox thing, they kind of merged together because it was like because we finally learned more about Peridot when she was like, "Alright, there's this cluster thing, it's gonna kill us all, but also while we work on trying not to kill us all, I'm gonna learn how to be a decent gem." Like, I thought that that was such a cool, like, peace and love and war on Earth or something like that.
And then right immediately after that, she goes and contacts Yellow Diamond and is like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah, I also really liked that part because you could tell that she was, like, totally gonna snitch and be like, "Oh, I know where, Steven is and all, like, these gem rebels," and then she looks and, like, sees, like, "Well, I actually kinda like this place," and then she calls Yellow Diamond a Claude. I loved that.
Yeah, just like how Yellow Diamond starts flipping out, and she's like, "Well, apparently I know more about Earth than you Claude," and
God,
just
I
that
loved that.
reaction. Yeah,
Mhm. That I think that part was, what, like, kinda sealed the deal for me of, like, Peridot being one of my favorite characters, which I love a good character arc when, like, someone, like, it's, like, goes from enemy to friend. I think that that's such an endearing thing that you don't see, you know, performed all that well, and I think that the writers of the show did a great job with that, also with, like, Lapis and Jasper. Like, all of the bad characters kind of turning nice, like, I feel like most of those, some of them being an exception, were, like, really well done.
so then after that is when they finally get the, gem drill stuff going, and then they get to the cluster and the whole surprise Steven can bubble the planet sized stuff now. That
Yeah.
I think that was kind of a dumb ending.
Yeah, I wish that there was more of a I liked how it, happened, but I also wish that there was more of a struggle with it because it was kinda like, "Oh, I believe in us, and we can do it, and I believe in you guys too. You guys are friends. Look, you're a gem and you're a gem. Get to know each other. You'll have so much time to." I wish there was a more like climactic ending to that.
Yeah, it was good but not at the same time.
Yeah.
So then I think after that is when Steven was trying to get Lapis to live in the barn with Peridot.
Yeah. Well, that was also one of my favorite episodes was when Lapis and Steven were like flying around the world. That was such a cute episode to me. I love that part. But then I found that arc, I guess you would call it, that section in the season to be just so annoying because like Peridot was finally like, "All right, I'm gonna try to be nice. I just told off Yellow Diamond, and I'm gonna fix like bad relationships." And then Lapis was like, "I hate you. I hate everyone. I want to live alone. You all suck." You know?
And then after, I think with Lapis, after she gets comfortable, she does it again, and then she gets comfortable, and she does it again, and then she gets comfortable and does it again. It's
Yeah.
like,
It takes like
okay,
way too long.
yeah, like, okay, sure, you can do this once, maybe twice, but after the third time, it's like, stop.
Yeah. Like, once it got to the part where it was like, "We made a pool for you," and she's like, "You think I would want water after being trapped in under the ocean for almost, like, a year, blah, blah, blah." Like, that part, that was where it was kinda clear to me, like, "Oh, I don't know if I like Lapis anymore."
Yeah, it was like, okay, sure, she didn't think about that, but like, at least she's trying Lapis. You have to give her that.
Yeah. But, you kinda have to give it to her, like, she's been through some stuff in her entire life of being a gem. I mean, it's only fair that she's a pretty, like, not very trusting person, like, to
Yeah.
other people. But that was also, when the, like, teardrop ship or something of rubies came, and we actually start getting more.
The gem, the roaming eye.
The roaming eye, yeah, and then we start getting more into, like, homeworld
Yeah,
territory with the plot, and then Lapis was finally, she, like, did, like, the hand thing with the water. I thought that that was super cool, and,
yeah,
that transition into, like, "Where are you guys from?" "We're from Homeworld."
yeah.
I found that part to be so cool.
I think when they did the baseball, it was like it was okay. I mean, it was an interesting idea, but at the same time, it was like, well, you made these characters super dumb, so why are you spending this much time on them?
Yeah. I mean, I found the rubies, like, to be likable, but especially, like, I mean, it is a kids show, and so, I mean, it's not gonna be perfect, like, plot-wise and character-wise and story-wise, but I
Yeah.
did like how they came back to the rubies later, especially with the one-eyed ruby,
Oh
and,
yeah.
like, Steven and the one-eyed ruby being, like, trapped in space.
Yeah. That was definitely an interesting thing when they got to that.
Yeah, and then there was, like, more homeworld things, and wasn't that kind of the first time we see, like, Steven's life be, like, truly, like, actually, like, in danger?
Kind of, yeah. But before that, I just have to mention when Greg, gets a casual $10 million check.
I totally forgot about Greg.
I think the Mr. Greg episode where they went to Empire City was a really good episode.
I loved that episode, especially because we got one of the best bangers of the series, "It's Over, Isn't It?" And
Yeah,
then just, like, that whole character thing with Pearl and Greg.
yeah, just like the connection they make after, understanding how they both feel about that.
Yeah, and, like, both the, like, Steven being like, "Alright, I've had enough of this, talk to each other and just, like, get each
Yeah.
other's side of the story." Because Pearl was being petty and Greg was like, "Ooh, you tried to take my woman and stuff," you know? I found that to be such a cool episode, but it was also, like, I kind of wish that they used a different plot device to get that to happen. Because while I did like how, um, they, like, did, like, the whole $10,000 check thing and, like, with Marty, oh my god, Marty.
Oh my gosh, Marty sucked. I
Yeah,
hated him as a character. But
same, but
he was designed to be hated. So,
yeah, so you gotta give the writers that, but
yeah.
I wish that they did, like, a different I wish they did a different thing with, like, what like, because while the $10,000 check was cool, I wish it was,
10 million.
like, 10 million, whatever. I wish it was a little just more, like, raw and, like, there was a better reason to have Pearl and Greg finally reconnect. Because it was like, "Let's go to Empire City to spend all this money, and let's bring Pearl," and then that was kind of the plot device used. I wish there was something that they used that was different, that was more, like, added more flavor to the story and not just, like, a one-time thing and then boom, they're reconnected.
Yeah. I like how a little bit after, I think 2 or 3 episodes after that, is when they had the Restaurant Wars episode. And I really liked that episode because I found someone who had remade the pizza bagel recipe, and I make
Binging with
those every now and then,
Savage.
and they're
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah,
I
I
actually found
still
someone else that did that before him, but they're both
really?
awesome. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then they also did the pizza or the ketchup inside the fries. I haven't
Mhm.
made those yet, but the pizza bagels are awesome. I just have
Yeah.
to mention.
Yeah, the Restaurant Wars has to be one of my favorite filler episodes.
Yeah, for
Especially
sure.
because, like, I feel like that's especially when the animation started getting, like, super, super good, and it was
Yeah,
like it was, like, so like, beautifully animated, like, after, Restaurant Wars and, the the one-eyed ruby stuck in space, like, thing, it was so pretty.
that hadn't us. Wait,
What I think Ruby
I don't
the
think that had happened yet. After Hit the Diamond, that didn't happen.
The Restaurant
as far as I
Wars?
remember.
Hmm. I think well,
I don't. Hmm.
Well, Restaurant Wars was after Hit the Diamond, right?
It was, yeah, but I don't think the
Mhm.
flying through space thing had happened yet because this was in season 3,
Ah.
and I think that was season 4.
Oh. Well, even after, like, Hit the Diamond, I feel like that was, like, ending of season 2, right? Hit the Diamond was?
Um, Hidden the Diamond was sort of near the beginning of season 3.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, it was near the beginning of season 3.
Ah. I do yeah, but that is definitely when I feel like the animation really just hit it off, you know?
Yeah. So I'm trying to look through this to see if I can find that episode.
Yeah, are you looking through, like, Hulu or something?
Here it is. No, I'm looking at Wiki. It's
Ah.
um it's at the very end of season 3 is when they get stuck in space.
Oh, mhm.
So that was after they go. Oh, right. That was after the rubies come back to Earth and then they go to the moon base.
Oh, yeah. And when the rubies came back to Earth, wasn't that when they took Jasper with them, right? Or they're oh, no, they came back to Earth to
Jasper.
look they came back to
Well,
Earth
they
to look
were
for Jasper.
they were looking for Jasper, and then once they found out that there were gems and hit the diamond, Steven was like, "Jasper's on Neptune!" And so they looked on
Yeah.
Neptune and every other planet in the solar system. And they're like, "Well, she's not there." And so Amethyst walked off to the side, shapeshifted into Jasper, and was like, "I'm right here." So then they went to
Yeah.
the moon base and everything, and that's when all that happened.
Wasn't that when we got introduced to the human zoo, or was that after?
That was a little bit later.
Hmm.
But before we get to that, just before the episode where they get thrown into space is where we meet Bismuth.
Bismuth! Yeah.
I loved Bismuth's character.
Bismuth has pants in this scene.
So, okay, I not thank you for bringing that up. In the first episode when Bismuth was introduced, they there was an editing or a drawing glitch or something that they missed wherein when they were practicing on the beach, Bismuth is drawn without pants for like half a second.
For, like, one frame, Bismuth is pantsless.
Like you can pause it and it's like right after she swings and like catches Pearl with her arm or something, right after she does that, she has no pants. It's like it's just like a weird thing to see. Like, oh, okay, this
Yeah,
is
now it's just,
weird.
like, a running joke, like, "Oh, Bismuth has pants in this scene." So, we meet once again. Thank you for listening to the second episode of Quantum Box. We're having a great time so far, and I am here to bring you your bi weekly Quantum Box ads. So, without further ado, I present me. I want to thank you again for listening to Quantum Box. Like I said before, we're having an amazing time, so thanks for sticking around, and we hope you stick around for more episodes where we talk about more fun things. We've got a lot of great ideas in store for you guys, and we hope you enjoy what we've got coming up. So I'll let you get back to our nerd talk. But man, Bismuth is such like I really disliked her at like when she was first introduced. But then I really started growing on her, and she's definitely one of my favorite characters. Like the whole episode when she was introduced, I was like both like, "Oh, she's cool. Oh no. Oh, she wants to start a genocidal war. Okay. You know." But then I think it's her actual after all that happened when I think it was they rebubbled her and then Steven brought her back for Ruby and Sapphire's wedding. That's especially when I was like warming up to Bismuth.
So I like how, or I didn't like rather, how at the very beginning of when Bismuth was introduced, how she was like, "Oh, so you're not Rose Quartz anymore. So you're definitely gonna love my ultimate death machine for all gems everywhere." I was
Yeah,
like,
I
"Whoa, Bismuth, slow your roll there."
take it like 20,000 notches down, please.
Yeah, but then after, like you were saying, how they bubbled her and then brought her back, I definitely like that a lot more because she was like, well, they don't like me anymore. And then she was like, well, I'm going to be better. And then she was a lot better.
Yeah, when cause like through that whole first episode, I found her like her design to be really cool, like her, her voice and her like whole thing with like the black being a blacksmith and
You
all
know,
that.
when she had pants in those scenes, the design was good.
Yeah, but I found all that to be really interesting, but then on the flip side, she was, I like to shatter diamond or shatter gems with this ultra cool gem shatterer, and you used to be my war buddy, so surely you're gonna like this too. And Steven's like, "What? No, are you stupid?"
Yeah. And then once they, the whole bubbling thing, and everyone was like, sob sad. And that scene was sad when they had to poof her and everything. And like, as soon
Yeah.
as she got stabbed by Steven and they had that little conversation and everything, that was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, and then there was the ooh, that was in like season 3, right? That we got introduced to Bismuth?
yeah, that was closer to the end of season 3.
Mhm. And I feel like season 3 was kind of not bland, but definitely like there were only a couple of actually interesting things that happened.
It's more the introduction to the Diamond Era stuff, but it still wasn't, when they actually got into that, it was kind of just a little bit of an introduction. So I thought that was still good.
Yeah, let's go on to the human zoo. When was that?
Human Zoo was, let's see, Human Zoo was about halfway into season 4
Yeah. Well, I don't remember anything particularly interesting happening before the human zoo other than
when,
um
Blue Diamond was there.
yeah, other than um seeing like the paladin, I think it was called, and Steven's like, I
Palanquin.
Palanquin. Yeah, and Steven's like, I gotta know what that is, and then Greg gets kidnapped and he's like, I'm going. I feel like that was everything up until that point was kind of slow.
Kinda, yeah.
And
And
then
then once they get there and like we see what Amethyst is actually supposed to be like,
I
that
thought
was
that that
really
was
interesting.
yeah, I thought that was super interesting because when was On the Run again? Like season 2, I think.
I think it was season 2. I can double check.
Yeah, well, because On the Run, we find out that Amethyst, she emerged from her like little gem marination station.
Wow. On that run was about 3/4 of the way into season 1.
Oh, all right, but that's when we find out
Marination Station.
we find out that she emerged from the kindergarten way later than she was supposed to, and she used like a small little runt of an amethyst and stuff, and but we didn't really ever get into like what she was actually supposed to look like until we get to the human zoo and we meet all the like this gang of amethysts.
Yeah. And then I love how after they finally break Greg out, how Amethyst messes with them with all the other Amethysts and is like, they found me out. Oh no, they're gonna be terrible. They're really, really great.
Yeah, I loved how I was really happy with the fact that they didn't make like the other amethysts like an enemy kind of thing. I liked how they actually like made the like that made them a really like cool like set of characters. I thought that that was like a really good idea on the writer's behalf.
Yeah, the way they went with those was really awesome, especially in SUF. How they
Oh
kind of
yeah.
like come back.
Mhm.
I think that was really cool.
Yeah, and I also liked how in Human Zoo, when Steven and Greg finally break out and everybody's having like a mental breakdown because they didn't get to like date Greg and all
They
the
didn't get to
amethysts.
like marry him or something. It was like,
Yeah, and
wow.
then and then all the amethysts come marching in all like militant like, and then they're like, "Do you want some hot chocolate? Are you all
Yeah,
right?"
like come down, let's talk about it.
I thought that that was so funny and like such a good like little twist. But
Yeah,
so Human Zoo, that was interesting to say the
yeah.
least.
And then like immediately after Human Zoo and that will be all and all that stuff, there's the storm in the room. And I thought that wasn't a great, but it wasn't great, but it wasn't
Oh
terrible.
yeah. Wasn't that
It was an interesting episode.
when Steven and Connie they kind of they were like hanging out in Steven's room and then like everything just like derails into madness?
No, I think that was after. Storm in the room is when Steven gets like has the room create rose quartz and spends time with her.
Oh yeah, and like that whole thing wasn't um I don't remember many scenes before Storm in the Room where we actually get to see Rose Quartz, other than, you know, like with Greg's like song musical flashbacks and stuff. I
Yeah.
don't think
There wasn't a
we
ton
ever
before that.
like other than like her like weirdly sexual song with Greg and like a couple of Pearls flashbacks. I don't
What
think
can
we
I do
ever
for you? That
God,
song.
it's oh man, that song is oh no. It's both such a catchy song and also but,
Kind of.
like, other than with that and, like, a couple of Pearl's flashback stories, we didn't really get to see Rose's design or hear her voice or anything like that.
Yeah. And then after that was Rocknaldo, which I hated that
Mhm.
episode. It
Freaking Bloodstone.
that was really stupid. I didn't
Jeez.
like it.
Oh my
Uh
god.
Not really a ton happened after that. I mean, one of the rubies did come back and was like, "Hi, I love you, and also I just stole your ship. Goodbye forever." Not a
Yeah.
ton happened during the rest of that episode until the end
Wait,
when we
wait,
get
wait.
to. Sorry, go ahead.
Before you go on, when you so when the one ruby comes back is like, "Hi, Earth," but then we meet Pumpkin.
That's true.
I
No,
would just
Pumpkin was before.
no, was it?
Yeah, it was because
Oh,
they already had Pumpkin when Ruby got there.
yeah, I wanna take a moment to just appreciate Pumpkin because, man, the just the my life, my love, my heart and soul, I love Pumpkin so much.
um,
Anyways.
But yeah, not a ton happened in the rest of the season until you got to the end when we get introduced to Aquamarine. And
Oh,
oh my
man.
gosh, I think she was a really good character. I
I
hated her,
loved
but
her.
she was a really good character.
Yeah, she was such a cool character. I like, I really liked how her way of finding Steven or what and, like, Greg and stuff was like, "Are you my dad?"
Right? But she didn't understand any better because she literally thought his name was my dad. So it was like me being like, "Are you this person?" or "Hi, are you this person?" If I was looking for someone looking for like a wallet or something, but she was looking to kidnap people. But she was just looking for their names.
Yeah, I thought that, like, she was such, like, an innocent yet absolutely horrific and evil character because she's so small and cute and, like, just this, like, little pixie of, like, horribleness, and I loved her
Yeah,
because
yeah, it was really good.
once Steven was like, "Alright, I'm Rose Quartz, take me," and then she was, like, a really, like, intimidating character to the Topaz, it was? The Topazes?
Yeah, the topazes.
I I really liked the Topaz characters.
I
I
did
thought they were
too.
so cool.
Yeah. And then after they take Steven and release all the other humans, they're like, "Oh, hey, look, Lars is still on the ship. Let's just take him
Oh,
anyways."
man, I totally forgot about the Lars being there.
Yeah. So that I think was kind of it led to some interesting stuff, but when I first saw it, I was like, I don't understand why this was added for any purpose. So that was
But then they actually, like, make the Lars being there, like, an actual thing, and it was super cool.
So then after they get to Homeworld, I loved the trial episode.
Oh my god, same. I thought that that was such a cool episode, and we finally get to see, like I really, 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 really liked, the pearls in that episode.
Yeah, me too.
And then what's the gems, the lawyer gems?
Those are the zircons.
Zircons! Oh my gosh, I loved the blue zircons so
I did
much.
too, yeah. And then, Yellow Diamond has some more of her anger issues that she goes through and starts killing everyone, so that happens.
Yeah, and then I kinda forget how that whole, thing goes with the trial and then Lars with the group of the rejects or whatever. I kind of forget how that goes.
So basically, after the trial, they escape and everything, and they like crash onto the very bottom of Homeworld or whatever, and they send out these shattering robots to try and shatter them. But these like the outcast off color gems come and find them
Off
and they're like,
colors.
"Oh, come with us. We'll keep you safe." And so they go with them, and it turns out the Robonoids followed them. That's what they're called, Robonoids. They followed them, and so Lars is like, "Well, time to be a hero," and he starts destroying them so they can't shatter the off colors. And Lars jumps onto one of them, and he has like a pointy rock, and he
Oh
stabs
yeah.
it into one of them, and it blows up, launches him against the stone wall, and then Lars is dead.
Yeah. I thought so that this is the part where so I don't have the same platform that you do to watch Steven Universe. So I use Hulu, which means I only have up till season 4. So
Yeah.
this was the part where I started watching Steven Universe on a Discord call with you screen sharing. Which is so
Yeah.
ghetto. And I like and it was, like, sometimes laggy, so that whole, like, sequence where Lars died, it was, like, kind of lagging throughout
Yeah.
some of it. So
So
I was like,
then
"What happened?" And then all of a sudden he was pink.
yeah. So then, after Lars is, brought back to life because Steven cried on him and he has life-bringing powers. It turns out Lars's hair has like the same magic dimension powers as Lion, which reminds me, I'm pretty sure the reason the Lion is pink is because he probably died and Rose Quartz probably saved him or something.
Oh, definitely.
So then he goes through that and jumps out of Lion, and then he's like, "Sup, I'm back."
Yeah.
And that's when Connie's like, "I don't know you anymore." But later, after they make up and everything, that's when they go back to Lars's head, and they're on the spaceship, and they find out he's like an intergalactic pirate or something. But Steven, after he goes back through Lion, doesn't go back to Homeworld again. He stays on Earth.
I don't remember that at all.
Huh.
Like, one bit.
Weird. But yeah, like after they go back to see Lars being the pirate, that's when they fuse into Stevani and then they crash on the jungle moon.
Jungle Moon, and then we find out that Stevani can grow a beard.
Yeah, that was weird saying
Yeah.
that. So then after I think that was kind of a pointless filler episode. So that
Yeah.
happened. And then they go back and Garnet was telling the off colors about Rose Quartz because they thought she was like a horrible monster or like a human that eats gems or something. But Garnet was like, "No, that's not at all true." And so Garnet was telling them about Rose Quartz from like her perspective, and she was like, she's awesome, blah blah blah."
And didn't the off colors, like, totally have, like a a total like riot about that. I remember one of the off colors being like, "You're stupid and I don't like you."
No.
I because I
Where are you
totally
getting these memories from?
um
Because that didn't happen.
I remember like one of the off colors was like the super, you know,
Yeah,
not
sure.
nice.
I don't know. But then, moving on. After that, there was kind of a few pointless things about like Garnet's future vision and stuff. And then something where Steven's like explaining Lars to what's been happening, but that's kind of pointless. So then, when it does get like important again, is when Steven sees the barn that Lapis stole on the moon, and so he's like, "Come back," and so he almost does, but then he has a dream about the diamonds, and it ends up scaring her, and she leaves again. And then immediately after that episode is A Single Pale Rose.
A single pale rose. I loved that episode.
That episode was awesome because, again, major spoilers, and if you haven't seen Steven Universe, you should have gotten out by now. That is when it is revealed that Pink Diamond is Rose Quartz.
Yep.
And that episode, I was not expecting that.
I loved how they did that.
I loved but hated that because they made it so that about one thing that I hate how they did that is about 30 seconds before they actually showed it, you could already tell that it was when she said, "If this is truly my world, I want to give it to the Crystal Gems." Like, I liked but hated that. Like, I think they peaked on that part too early. Like, they
Yeah.
shouldn't have had her say that and then just suddenly she is Pink Diamond.
Yeah, they were a little trigger happy with the foreshadowing, in my opinion, because a
Yeah.
lot of people, which so I'm pretty dumb when it comes to foreshadowing sometimes. So it was actually a pretty big surprise to me. But a lot of people like figured it out like really, really early on into the like actual show.
Yeah. Somehow.
Um, I think once after it was um, oh, there was one episode where like half of the fan base was like, "Oh yeah, Pink Diamond is definitely rose quartz." I forget what it is, but there was definitely one thing where the foreshadowing was very like, "This is this," you know.
Yeah. And then after A Single Pale Rose, there's a couple kind of the point. Well, okay, there was the Garnet finding out about that, and she like dies because of the
Oh
shock.
yeah, didn't they
And
like
so
ever? They wasn't it like they never told Garnet?
yeah, Garnet didn't know about that, so they came undone. And Ruby is like, "It's okay," and Sapphire is like, "No, go die in a hole. Our relationship is based on a lie." And so
Oh
she runs
yeah,
off.
I remember that. And then we get Ruby Rider in that whole
I hated
spiel.
that episode so much.
I actually really liked it.
That was a terrible episode. I hated it.
I thought that it was like I thought it was really cute. And then like, you know, that was when they came up with like, well, why don't you just like propose to Sapphire? Like
I liked that part of it, but every other single part of that episode was terrible, in my opinion.
I thought that some of it was a bit dragged out and dramatic, but other parts of it I thought were like really cute. I actually really like the Ruby Rider like song. It's just like
Oh, I
gentle
hate
and
it.
calm. I
It's
actually really like
country. It's country. It deserves to die.
I think it's fine.
It
It's
was
not like
horrible.
wow.
So
But
after that, they start getting married, and Maid of Honor is when they bring Bismuth
yeah.
back and ask
Yeah.
her to be the Maid of Honor
Yeah,
for the
wasn't it
wedding.
like Steven had the idea and then when they brought
He kind of
he's
just
like he kind of leads Bismuth onto the porch and everybody's like they like all like draw their weapons and they're like, "Hey,
no,
get
they
out of
didn't.
here."
No, it was like so Steven released her without telling anyone, and they all went out and they were like, "Hi," and everyone was just like, Oh,
A
and then
bismuth!
and then
Yeah.
everyone got so excited because I think they already knew it was okay because like she was with Steven and not trying to myrtle him.
Yeah, that's fair.
So they were good. And then the whole wedding happens, and during that whole thing, hey, blue and yellow diamond are here.
Yeah, and then, because they come to crash the wedding and Blue makes everyone cry, and then Lapis comes down on her barn.
I loved that part.
I thought that that was really cool, but I also didn't like how she didn't cry because she's like, "I felt worse than this." I just thought that that was really edgelord and, like, not very interesting.
I thought that part was really good because I mean, she was referencing how she got abandoned. Like, imagine the emotional trauma of like just being left to die there and then being stepped on, literally.
Yeah, well, I liked I feel like that was a good, like, plot device that they used to help actually win that fight, like, just Lapis
Yeah.
being like, "I felt worse," but I also wish they dived more into, like, rather Blue Diamond making everyone cry, it was them, like, because 'cause wasn't it, like, making them think on, like, all the worst things and stuff and, like,
I don't know
because
like
I
how it
remember
actually makes them cry, but it just
it does.
does.
'Cause I remember there was, like this might be in a completely different thing, but I remember it was, like, Steven was, like, jumping around in the void, and then there was, like, everyone there crying, and he's like, "It's okay, oh, we're gonna fix this," and then everybody was like,
Well,
"Alright, yeah, we got this."
well, after he went into the void thing, they had already stopped Blue Diamond's aura, so they were whenever he was like talking to all of them through the void, they were all like, "Oh, I don't think we can do this." And he was like, "Nope, we got it." And he was like, "Yay, we got it! Let's fight!" And it was like
Oh,
that part. I was kind of like, "Okay, yeah,
yeah. But with, like, the whole Blue Diamond making everyone cry thing, I wish they did a little more, like, work on that, like, to make it, like, an actual reason, like, sure, they've got, like, all these powers, and Blue Diamond is a sad diamond, so she makes everyone cry. I wish they made it, like, a thing, like, she made everybody, like, cry and, like, feel so hurt because, like, her power would, like, knock them to the ground and remind them of, like, all their insignificant things and their insecurities and things that they've done wrong in the past and, like, making them feel
yeah,
like this small blip of horribleness, which I thought, like, if they did it like that, then it would make the Lapis coming back thing a lot more interesting because
yeah."
rather Lapis just being like, "I felt worse," wiping a tear away and then, like, kicking their asses, it was more of, like, she would have to reflect on everything and be like, I've I've felt these things, but I can move on now, and then
Yeah.
kick their asses.
Yeah. After that happened, again, the diamonds being stupid. After all that happens, is when Steven's like, "Stop the fighting through the void. I am Pink Diamond. You're my family. You love me." And they're like, "We love you, Steven. You're our family." It's like mind control, basically.
Yeah.
And so, then they're like, "Okay, we're gonna help you with whatever you need because you're Pink Diamond."
Then that kind of backfires horribly.
Yeah. And they go to Homeworld and try and talk to White Diamond, and she's the creepiness queen.
Oh god, she's
It
so
was
creepy.
horrible.
Yeah, oh, yikes.
So, they have the whole battle after a little bit of random stupidness in the episode. They have the whole battle of, "Oh, I'm White Diamond, I'm perfect." And Steven's like, "Watch me do whatever I want." And she's like, "Oh no, emotional trauma. I'm not perfect."
Yeah. And then, because they, like, because Steven's like, I think it was the song was called, like, Familiar, when he's like,
Yeah.
"This is my old life, this is, like,
Yeah.
something I used to know, something I used to do, like, if I, like maybe if I do what I used to do and, like, try try to bring them all together, then maybe they'll stop being, like, dictators and, like, being the worst gems on the planet." And then so, like, he tries to hold that ball, and then everything goes to crap when Stevani comes, like,
When they
Steven and
accidentally
Connie fuse.
fuse.
They accidentally fuse because 'cause they're dancing, and then the 2 Jades are like, "Oh, I knew that I wasn't the only one," and then Ruby and
Poof.
Sakura fuse, and then everybody gets poofed, and then they get like, Stefani gets thrown into, like
Gem prison. And then that's when they introduced the escapism song. I loved that song.
oh my god, right? I sing escapism at least once a day, every day, like and then I can't exactly remember what happens after that.
A little bit after that is, when they have the White Diamond battle and change. Well, the episode is called "Change Your Mind," so they changed her mind on everything, and then they were finally able to uncorrupt all the corrupted gems after they convinced her to go back to Earth with them.
Yeah, and I wanna talk about the whole change your mind battle thing, cause wasn't that the horrible, super horrible part when a White Diamond, like, plucks Steven's gem out?
She just ripped the gem out, and Pink Steven was born. And Pink Steven was like, I'm gonna do whatever I want. And she tries to mind control him, and Pink Steven just obliterates her.
He's like, she's gone," and White Diamond's like, "What are you talking about? Like, she's gone." "No, she's not, you're, like, right here, like, can you please become Pink Diamond again?" And he's like, "Are you stupid?" And then, like
Yeah.
that whole thing goes down, and then, White Diamond's like, all right, I got it now." And then, like, that I think that was, like, the very end of the show, right?
It was, yeah, that was the end of the main show. So that that was 5 seasons. That
5 seasons of
amazingness.
yeah, what 'cause so what I like about Steven Universe is it's really good with, like, morals and, character development, and throughout the entire show, like, there's so much, like movement, and like it's all very smooth throughout most of the show, and like the way that they develop the characters and how they like reveal new plot scenes, I found like they did a super fantastic job. But on the other hand, some of it was kind of sloppily done and
Yeah.
rushed.
Although I just do have to say, during the Change Your Mind battle when Steven and Pink Steven fuse, that was amazing animation during that entire thing.
Yeah, well they hired I think his name is James Barkley, James
Something
something,
like that. Yeah.
who's like this like world known famous animator who animates everything by hand, and
Yeah.
he's known for his like gorgeous like smooth animations, and he's like I think he did something for Gravity Falls, a lot of things for Adventure Time,
Hmm.
and then like him and Rebecca Sugar met, and Rebecca Sugar was like, or he was like, if you ever need a favor, like let me know, and Rebecca Sugar's like, well, I
Now
got
that you
something.
mention it.
Yeah, but that whole, like, segment where, like, Pink Steven, like, smiles and, like, that whole thing happens, like, I thought that that was so, like, wonderfully done and, like, so just, like it's just, like, so nice?
Yeah, it was amazing.
And then they end the show by, "Oh, yeah," and then that's when Amethyst was like, "Hey, Jasper, you cool?"
Yeah. Yeah. And then Jasper's like, "Oh, okay. No more fighting, I guess."
Well, kind of. She's like, "I'm gonna go, like, run away, and you're never gonna hear from me again until Steven Universe Future."
Yeah.
And then we didn't even go over, like, Smoky Quartz or, like, very much of Sardonyx or Opal or anything like that. Or Alexandrite.
Um yeah, they didn't appear too much in the show, so I don't know if there'd be like a ton to even say about that because they were barely there, so there's not really a lot to know about them.
Yeah. But really quickly, out of, like, all of those fusions, like, other than Garnet, what would you say would which one would be your favorite?
Out of all the fusions, aside from Garnet, I'd have to say either Sardonyx or Obsidian.
Obsidian. I forgot about Obsidian. Mine I wanna say Smoky Quartz, but, Smoky Quartz was just kind of annoying to me.
I liked her, but yeah, there was some parts I was like, okay, you can stop.
Yeah. I it's gotta have to be Opal for me.
Yeah. Opal was Opal was a good character, yeah.
Especially in, the movie,
Yeah,
which we're not gonna talk about today, because we are running kind of, on a longer schedule today, but
yeah.
we probably, will do a part 2 to Steven Universe where we talk about the mess of Steven Universe Future and then the slightly less mess that is the movie.
Yep. Definitely.
Oh man, so much happened in Steven Universe Future that I think it deserves its own episode.
Oh, it definitely does, yeah.
Yeah. Um, will that be next week's episode? Will this be a two-parter?
I think we'll definitely wanna do a two-part. I'm not sure if we'll do that immediately next, though.
Well, you can expect a second part to this Steven Universe discussion. We don't know when it's gonna be.
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually. We don't know quite when, but there will be a part two where we go over the movie and Steven Universe Future and maybe more about fusions and whatnot.
Yep.
Because it's such a cool show. Like, it's such a wonderfully creative idea and beautifully animated and stuff. I just there's a lot to go over in a little amount of time.
So that was Steven Universe.
Part 1 edition.
Yep. So thank you very much for listening to this. As we mentioned in the last episode, we're hoping to, well, not hoping, we are definitely going to record at least every other week, but every now and then we might do it once a week. So
Mhm.
you might get another episode next week, but definitely count on the week after next week.
For sure. And it's gonna be different topics every time unless we're doing a two-parter or a small series of something. But it's gonna be a new topic every week. Last week or last episode, I guess, we talked about our D&D campaign, which we'll be touching on later this year. And then, like we said, we'll probably be releasing a part 2 to our Steven Universe discussion probably later these upcoming months. And we're not too sure what the next episode is going to look like, but like Brennan said, you can count on it being the week after this next one.
Yeah. So thank you very much for listening, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Alrighty. Alrighty. I'm 3 beads away from finishing this bracelet. I will. This is looking more like a necklace now. Alright. So, do you want to do it this time since I did it last time?
Not really.
Okay, that's no. Oh,
Oh no.
I just dropped the entire
Rip.
100 beads in my lap. Okay, I'm just gonna